Historically low water levels. In some places, the Rhine is no more than a meter deep. Things have come to a standstill. In Altrip in western Germany, operations have been stalled for days. The water is too shallow for the ferry which this family business runs.
There the water was 1 meter 30. If we cross over, our ship won't make it, and we'd be finished. Then you're stuck in the sand with the propeller busted. A new propeller like that costs $260,000, $270,000, and you just can't go out and buy that.
Now some employees will have to go on vacation, others will have their hours shortened, and the rest are using 2 excavators to dig a new, deeper channel. Further down the Rhine at Mannheim, it is clear just how much is at stake. 80% of Germany's inland shipping passes through the Rhine. Harbour Director Uwe Kuhn tells us that many sectors depend on goods delivered by water.
Over there, you can also see that the police are blocking one of the 2 routes under the bridge, probably because there's not enough water. And you can see how these 2 ships now have to watch out passing each other. So now these guys really have a hard job making sure nothing happens.
But the biggest problem, according to Uwe Kuhn, can be seen with this freighter. Ships can no longer be fully loaded.
So currently it takes 3 to 4 times as much cargo space to carry the same amount as at normal water levels. That leads to shortages and, of course, to an increase in costs. And that's the big problem.
But the Rhine's drought affects the environment most. Gerardo Unger-Laforcat has observed the natural landscape here for over 10 years, and the vegetation is now in serious danger.
Here we would normally be a meter underwater, and there's just no more water. All living things here that can't retreat into the water will die off.
This mainly affects small animals like crustaceans, but according to conservationists, it is now also dangerous for fish.
Everything is already dead here. You have to imagine such puddles can get to 30 to 35 degrees. These are death zones not only for fish, but for all smaller organisms.
Even worse, tourists are further damaging the flora and fauna. Many are taking advantage of the drought to walk to the world-famous Mouse Tower. Environmentalists say this destroys precious breeding grounds.
So the problem is that people on otherwise inaccessible islands are a disturbance. A bird gets used to its environment, and if it's not used to humans walking around, then anyone walking around will be a huge disturbance, and so it might abandon its nest.
We continue our journey. We pass long sandbanks, idle ships, and water that has rarely been this low. Almost all ferry services across the Rhine have closed. However, Martin Schnaas in the small town of Ingelheim is still operating. For 130 years and for 5 generations, his family has run a ferry on the Rhine. His ferry can still make it because it is specially designed for extremely shallow water.
Our propeller is in the hull, which means the ferry doesn't have a keel, so we have less draft. There's still enough clearance, so the water can still fall half a meter. Hopefully it won't come to that. Hopefully.
Business is still good for Martin Schnaas. Ever more commuters and tourists now depend on his ferry.
This used to be once every 20 years. Now every 2 years the river can't be crossed. So we have to help out, and demand is increasing.
The ferry still has 50 centimeters to the riverbed. But Martin Schnaas doesn't know how long that will last. If it doesn't rain soon, he will probably have to give up.